Hey everybody, welcome back to the Reel Down. We'll give it just a second here before we get started. We usually start about a minute in. So how you doing, Brad?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for being on show. Right now, Brad's on B-Rad G or Brad or Bait or Buzz Brad, whatever you want to call him. He's on, and then Jimmy. Sometimes you have work stuff going on, so he might jump on here in just a little bit and ask these two fine gentlemen we're going to have on tonight some questions. So yeah, give it just a few more seconds here. If you have any questions for our two guests tonight, please feel free to ask in the comment section, and we'll get them out there. Jean, already earlier, she was ready for our show, so she said whoop whoop.
Nice.
Because I know we're having one of her Jackson people on here tonight. So
yeah, who's the which one's Jackson?
Yeah, I'll let you. We'll see. Here's a surprise. One's got a new canoe hat, and the other one doesn't. So I think it'll be easy to tell.
Gotcha. Yeah, right. These are new guys, man. I'm excited.
They are new. Yeah, they're absolute hammers. Been around a long time.
Yeah,
and they just never happen to be on the show. So it's great paddling Finn and the Reel Down here. We're finally able to get them on. So without further ado, two gentlemen, the winners. First, we have Mr. Alan Sweat, the Saturday winner of the KBF on Lake Conway last weekend or a weekend before last, and then Russell Johnson, the Saturday winner of the KBF on the Susquehanna this weekend. So here we go, Mr. Alan Sweat and Russell Johnson. There he is. Thanks,
hey guys,
for being on the show. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, Alan, man. For me, congratulations on your win last weekend. So,
thank you. Yeah, it seems like it's been 5 months since it happened.
And we can start with that, because you went a long way. You live in West Palm Beach, Florida, and you went all the way to Arkansas. Is that just like a lake that you love and it was worth driving to, or what?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, I've never fished it before. Looking at it, I thought, I think I could probably do pretty well out there. It seemed like a really cool lake. I mean, it was, shallow water, sort of my whole wheelhouse kind of thing. And I'm like, you know what? Rather than going to some of the, Tennessee lakes or whatever, I'm going to go do that. Cool. So I made the drive, and, it ended up paying off. I mean, we can talk about it, but I was a little surprised, but hey, it worked out for sure that first day. So.
Cool. Well, it definitely worked out. So we'll start there. Alan, if people don't know who you are, give us a little background. Tell us about yourself and who you are.
Yeah, man. So I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. I got married, got 4 kids, just trying to balance the whole work and fishing thing with family. Family comes first. But I've been kayak fishing for 2 years now. And I absolutely, I've been bass tournament fishing for 30 years, so I went from the bass boat side basically to kayaks. Yeah, so that's basically what I did. And I know that's a popular, move for a lot of people, but for me, I did it. And man, I ended up selling my boat. I'm like, I don't even need a boat anymore after doing this. This is just awesome, So I mean, I'm like completely hooked on it, and just getting into the tournaments has been awesome, and the whole community and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's a little bit, that's basically my background. I mean, I've been, fishing forever, but, the tournament deal with kayaks is just, it's just addictive. It's totally addictive. I mean, I got into it and I can't look back. So.
Oh, yeah.
Same here, man.
And yeah. So you've got wife, kids, and what do you do for work?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I work in the aerospace industry. I work actually in finance. So I'm a desk jockey by trade. So, I mean, it's like all the, the work. It's funny, like rigging the kayak and doing all this stuff, it's like, man, I got to get help. I mean, I'm not mechanical. Yeah. I mean, I can change a light bulb, but that's like it, it's like, I'm learning all kinds of cool stuff, but, that's what I do for work, and, fortunately, that gives me the time to be able to fish some. And, there's only so much time in a year. That's the problem. When you work for a big company, you only have so many vacation days, right? So you got to sort of plan your schedule. And that's one of the reasons I chose Conway, and I'm going to choose a couple others that just sort of make sense to me. I think I can do it. I can't get out there and fish 10 events like some of these guys can. Yeah. So I got to pick, the 3 or 4 I think I can do okay in, so.
I'm the same way. So, all right. Now And what kind of boat are you in? I know you.
Okay.
Congratulations on just joining the new canoe team. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm in a new canoe pursuit and love it. And actually, it's sort of crazy. I mean, that first day at Conway was my first tournament day, in the new canoe. So it's like
Wow.
go out there and just,
yeah.
I was like, wow, okay, if I can put up 95 inches in the first hour in the new canoe pursuit, this is a pretty good deal. So,
Yeah.
but it just worked out. But yeah,
boat has some good juju now.
it's got some good juju, man.
You're on
awesome.
the tournament team, so I mean, congratulations, New Canoe. They picked you up and then immediately showing out. So that was definitely
Thanks, man.
for them. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, Russell.
Yep.
Man, I've seen you. It's funny. It's social media where you're friends with everybody online. Like I'm friends with both y'all. Never talk to you in person, but it's good to finally see a picture or something and say, okay, now I can finally talk to this guy. So Russell Johnson, tell us all about yourself, man.
What's going on, guys? I'm out here just 1 hour south of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's always raining. I swear it's almost a rainforest up here. But I got a wife and 2 kids. I got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. Family oriented, work wise. We just took over a family restaurant that my wife's family's had for 22 years. We took it over in January. I've been in food service ever since I was in the military. So it's just like easy for me. Prior to that, I used to drive truck, but I wanted to be home with the kids more. I was trucking 4 days a week and running and gunning kayak fishing the other 3 days a week. But it wasn't allowing me to be home with the family. So this year we swapped it all up. January, I quit my job, went full time into the restaurant, and told myself I was not going to fish. I wasn't going to run and gun every weekend at fishing tournaments. So I'm just strategically picking ones that I can go ahead and feel confident in and see where this year leads me. But I'm not fishing every weekend like I used to. So, opposite of Alan, I never tournament fished up until 4 years ago. It was always just fun fishing for me. And I grew up on a river. River fishing is my heart. Smallie fishing is everything.
Yeah, buddy.
I always say I've never caught a double-digit bass, but I'll take an 18-inch smallie every day.
Yep.
It's good for me. I love the bronze.
Well,
I would too. I've never caught an 18-inch smallie, so that'd be. I would trade you, man.
Oh man,
you need to come up north, man. It's some good smallie fishing up here.
Fortunate. I'm pretty close to a couple hours from Tennessee River, and so you can go out there and catch a little bit of everything. But first, thank you for your service. I know you were in the Navy, and man, I was creeping. I knew you were, working at a restaurant. Dude, I saw that beef Wellington picture you got on there. That's like my favorite thing. Oh Lord, whenever people say, "What's your last meal?" That's my last meal, beef Wellington.
So the beef Wellington thing is, I have a concept with the restaurant. We're only open 4 days a week, but if one of my buddies that's in the culinary arts, we're just wants to try something out, we'll hold a guest chef night. And the gentleman that I'm pictured with there just got us started with culinary art. He wanted to try something difficult. So we knocked out a beef Wellington, which I've done plenty times over the years. Came out beautiful. Plating was on point, and it just gave him a boost of confidence to pursue some action with a culinary art that he's doing now. So
cool.
It was a good meal, though.
Yeah, well, a bunch of people saying hello. Kevin James, how you doing, man? From Tejas down there. So we'll start with Alan since you were last weekend, a weekend before last on Conway. So tell us about your tournament. Start with Conway. That's somewhere I've never been. Tell us about the lake and how it's set up and what happened.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at it, it's obviously it's a shallow water fishery for the most part. I mean, the average depth is like 5 feet there. It's full of cypresses and pads and off-colored water. And I'm like, okay, so this is sort of sounding pretty good, coming from Florida. So I drove out there and I practiced. I was planning on practicing for 2 days. So I practiced. Thursday I practiced, and man, it was terrible. I mean, I actually didn't catch a fish. the first day of practice. I lost one and I got a bite, sort of in the same, area, sort of doing the same thing. And I thought the thing is I didn't get out there early. And so everybody's like, there's an early morning bite, you got to get out early, right? So same thing Friday, for whatever reason, I didn't make it, I didn't quite get to my spot, early enough. And about midway through the morning on Friday, I'm like, I'm just going to pack it in. I'm going to go back and just do my tackle. I was camping actually, down a little ways from the lake. And, I said, I'm going to do my tackle. I'm just going to get my mind right and just, I'm going to do what I know and go back where I got those bites. And if it happens, it does. If not, it doesn't. So I sort of was gambling on that early morning topwater bite happening, that I, in that area. Cause I basically, the area where I lost the fish, there were a lot of fish busting in there and I couldn't get them to bite, but I knew they were bass. And so I was like, it looks good. Everything's right. And so I'm just going to go back and just sort of commit to that. So, honestly, I thought I was going to fish Saturday and maybe even drive home. That's how the practice, it was just like, okay, this maybe it's not going to be what I thought it was. It wasn't like I thought I really found much. Yeah. So it was sort of a deal where, I went in there and just started early, with a frog and I caught one. And then the second one, I figured out what they were doing and I just dialed it in. And then, it was for about 2 hours. It was just game on. It was just, every few casts, they were in there. So it was good. It was good. I was shocked. I didn't know what I was on. Yeah, they were all largemouth. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess shallow water. I guess they would be.
Yeah. It was, there were good fish in there, and it just was, it just happened quick. But once you dial it in, it was just sort of like, I just figured it out, fairly early. I was fortunate to do that, and that was, how it worked out for me. But pretty much, it happened early, and then during the day was slower, and I did catch one fish sort of towards the end of the day on a spinnerbait in that same area. I just sort of went back and forth in there the whole time, Mm-hmm. But I think it goes to show you that, you can have a really bad practice mm-hmm. and, think you're not on anything. And then you got, you don't maybe, you just got to trust your gut. Because, it's one of those things where, I felt like it looked right, but I couldn't do anything with it on Thursday. So it's like, I went back in there and just, it was right. It was the deal. So, I don't know. Usually when I have a good practice, it's the opposite. So I guess maybe that's the lesson. You go crush them, and then you have a tough tournament. So
I kind of wonder what that is it because you're not sore lipping a bunch of them, so they bite tournament day or
maybe because I didn't sit there long. It was like all I had. I just sort of went through there one time, and that was it. And then just went back on tournament morning, and it was game on. So. I fished the tournament on Sunday as well, and that was sort of a long drive home for me because I ended up getting 8 on Sunday, but I only had 4 fish, and so I could not catch that 5th fish. I could not all day. I had it on. I had it on that morning about 10:30, and man, I replayed that the whole way home. I don't know if it would have won, but it would have been a top 3.
Yeah,
just pulled off in the pads, and that happens. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't perfect. So it's sort of bittersweet, I guess.
So is that the top water you were doing more in the pads and grass, things like that?
Yep. I was not fishing the trees like a lot of guys were. I was fishing the pads. And they were shallow. The fish early were shallow. They were not even really in the pads. They were between the pads and the bank. They were just really uptight, and I was using just an all white Spro popping frog, 50-pound braid, and just, that was just the deal. They were liking it.
And what was that, like a brim, like they, the fish going up on brim beds and chasing, the brim spawn or something like that? Or was it just,
I almost think it was more like a shad spawn kind of deal, because I saw some shad, like dead shad floating and stuff, and just the way they were popping in those pads. I don't think it was really brim bedding. I think it was more that bait fish were in there. So I don't know if you would call it a shad spawn, but sort of what it seemed like it was, with that white frog working early right on the bank. So
gotcha. Cool.
And I actually caught, one of the fish I caught there was a cove that was like totally covered in pads. I mean, like bass boats couldn't get back there at all. So like on Sunday, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the very back. There's one little pocket in the back of it. You know, a boat can't get there. They've probably never been in there for the past, however long. I went back there and caught 18.5-inch fish. So it's, super shallow, I mean, like at like 9 o'clock in the morning, you'd think that wouldn't happen, but
Hey.
yeah, it was cool. It was a great, it was a great tournament, man. I mean, it really was. It was, a good start. That was my first trail, KBF trail tournament ever Saturday. So,
wow. So 1 for 1 there too.
Yeah.
First time in the pursuit and first time a KBF
Congratulations.
trail. Yeah, seriously. All right. So Russell, how about you, man? Both these lakes are Lake Conway and then Susquehanna, 2 great places. I've never fished. So tell us all about that. I mean, you hear so much about it. So tell us about it and tell us about your tournament.
Hold on, Lane. Well, the tournament, it's the Susquehanna River. It runs, it cuts Pennsylvania in half. It's huge. There's areas of the river that are close to a mile wide that you won't get your knees wet walking across.
That's crazy.
It's super shallow, super rocky, but it holds giant fish. Not all the spots are like that, but a lot of them are. And a spot I fish, my Jackson Liska, it drafts a lot. I mean, it drafts next to the water, 3-4 inches of water. I can float without bumping anything. It's a shorter, wider boat. It's not a speed freak for paddling, but it paddles very well. In my first hour of the tournament, I launched from the launch, turned the torpedo on for about a minute to go upstream, got too shallow to run a torpedo, and got up and dragged my kayak for a quarter of a mile in knee-deep water, just so it would stay behind me. I wear a wading belt, and I drag my kayak. And I think that made a lot of difference in my fishing. Even though the water was running, it's right below what they would call a class 2, class 3 rapid. I was throwing a 5-inch bull shad to start the morning. I was getting hits, but they weren't taking it. Switched to a 4-inch bull shad, and they were swallowing it. So my fish came all in water that a jet boat or another. Hold on, babe. Here's your milk right here. Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Family man.
The biggest fish I caught, she came from right below a class 2 rapid in the white frothy water. They sit below it and look for a bait fish. It comes over to the Little Falls area and is stunned or stuff like that. So the first initial cast of the bull shad, I let it sink for 2-3 seconds, and then I'll pop it once, and shortly after I pop it, they're attacking it. I'm shad in that river, but there's bigger bait fish. Smallmouth are just opportunistic. They see free meal. You can do it with anything. I just like the fluid motion of the bull shad. It was there, and then I needed 2 more good fish. I had a 13-inch fish eat a 5-inch bull shad. I mean, they're aggressive. So I ran and gunned, ran upstream with the torpedo after I got past that, almost a mile and a half to another set. I like the fish. Or that 13-inch fish. So I went in when Susquehanna puts out 18, 19-inch fish when they turn the thing off. Not super confident in winning. Not with a 13-inch fish, but the river was fishing off. So I kind of figured that the guys that I knew that fished the river said they struggled. I had a chance at least to make some money. And then I got the call saying I won. And being the tournament director for that event was kind of crazy because every 30 minutes somebody was calling for a different question that I had to take and, devote my time to doing the right thing for them, not blowing them off because I was fishing. But I'm just there to support, KBF and the kayak fishing community. So it wasn't about a win, but it's really, really nice to have a win.
Yeah.
So why with the bull shad, I know that they have a couple different kinds. Do you pick the slow sinking, or is there a certain model that you like, or certain color for the Susquehanna that you like more than others?
Yeah. It's bone and threadfin shad. I don't see any difference in either one of them during time of day or anything like that. And I like a slow sink. The floater, I used to try to use a floater, but if I'm going to have a top bait, just, creep it along. And I'm not fishing these things slow. I got a 7-3-1, 13 fishing concept Z that I'm just cranking on. When I get the bull shad moving after the original plop in the water, let it stun, and then it's get it moving and get it out of there. So
you don't want it to get stuck. Them things are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost one this weekend.
Oh,
I can pay for
your win right there. So why?
Yeah.
So anybody else who's not a Jackson guy, I'm not a Jackson guy, but why Aliska over? I mean, Jackson's great boat. Brad's bona fide, new canoe, native, and now Jackson. So, but all those are great boats. Why the Liska over, like, let's say the Kilroy or the U-Pick or some other ones that might, it seems like Jackson has some that are kind of right there in the same range.
Yeah. So, like for me, myself, I'm on Jackson's pro staff. I have 4 Jackson boats. I have a Kilroy DT, which is the tandem boat, that they don't make anymore. But it's absolutely hands down my favorite boat. I have a Liska. I have a Big Rig FD, which is the pedal drive. It's their bigger one that I use on bigger lakes. If I was going to Kentucky Lake or up on Lake Erie where I fish a good bit. The Liska is a grab and go boat for me. I put the Torpedo on the back. It's lightweight. And knowing that I needed a shallow draft because the water was shallow, I didn't want to drag my big rig and deep. I'd ran 2. I don't want to say technical, but there may be technical with somebody else. Rapids, and I didn't want to flood it out because there's a wave train after the one that definitely washes over the deck of your kayak. So.
Okay.
But I think that's part of the reason why I didn't see any other competitors in my area.
Well, there you go.
What's your top speed with the Torpedo on the Liska?
5.4.
That's pretty quick.
But I'm also 270 pounds. Yeah, but I'm also 270 pounds, and I carry a bunch of gear myself. So
hey, that's pretty
I'm in
quick.
the big guy club.
I mean,
Brad just got on that Torpedo train too, man.
I did. It's awesome, man.
Listen, did you get the 1103 or the 403?
403.
Okay. I look up Trey Leach, Innovative Sportsman, and get you the utility rock guard with the grass blaster. It's the best investment for that Torpedo, hands down.
I have it on the way.
I absolutely love it. Whether I'm fishing, okay, good. I don't care what anybody says. I'd rather hold my throttle on my hand than not have that rock blast or the rock guard on there. So I'm in the long run.
I'm in the same boat as you, man. I'm a river guy. I love it. So I saw that rock guard. I was like, I got to have that.
Yeah. If I showed you the bottom of my rock guard, send me a picture of yours when it comes noon, and I'll send you what a picture of mine looks like after about 3 months of use.
Well, I'd say a shallow river like
it's
that.
Definitely scathed up.
I know Jeff Little's Susquehanna guy, and he's the big Torpedo rep. But it seems like that'd be a tough place to use a Torpedo, being rocky and shallow.
Nope. If I didn't have the rock guard, I wouldn't use it on there. You're definitely going to catch or break, but it's no different than Alan said that place had cypress trees. So I'm sure there's stumps and roots and everything all through the lake. It's just a little bit more dense with a rock than it is. If you're going 5 miles an hour and you hit something, you're going to break something. So,
yeah. And you've been killing it this year. You like those KBF monthly challenges, huh? You already won the April and May for Pennsylvania.
Man.
Yeah. So with the restaurant, we don't open till 11. I got to make some money. We don't open till 11 in the restaurant. My wife goes to the gym 3 days a week, and then the day she don't go to the gym, I'll get up early and go fish for 3 or 4 hours. So I'm able to get out about 9-10 hours a week. Just fishing sun up to 9 in the morning, then get ready to go to the restaurant and get lunch started and work there for 10-12 hours a day.
I'm starting to like those short trips like that. I do the same thing after work for like 2 or 3 hours, and I think I like that better than just doing like a whole day trip. You know what I mean?
It's very. I say it's my church.
Yeah.
It's whatever I need to get off my mind, or if I need to put something more in depth in my mind, I can do it on the water. 2-3 hours is perfect for me.
Yep. Completely agree.
I think for all of us, that's probably a big part of why we do this. It just puts you in the right place. Whether it's at the end of the week or the beginning of the day or after work one day, it brings us back to to being normal without killing a bunch of people.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Alan, let's go back to you. I mean, first of all, congrats on new canoe thing, but this year you've had a crazy good year. So you start out by winning the KBF 10 Invitational, and then you got 6, made a check in the 10, 27th out of 145 on the Lake Fork Bass event. Another one that you drove a long way. I mean, that's road warrior. And then you won the KBF Mother's Day Challenge for Florida, Texas. 3rd in the annual Yak Attack tournament. Second in the KBF one night stand for Florida, Texas region, and then you won the Conway event. So you're having a pretty good year, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can relate to what Russell was saying too about just the short getaways too. I mean, I enjoy the challenges and like the one night stand stuff too. I mean, I'll go out and actually not really night fish, but I'll just fish from like 6 to 8, the first evening, and then go back out the next morning and fish from 6 to 8. And, maybe you get 4 hours in on a challenge, that's pretty good. You don't necessarily have to fish, totally after dark and stay out super late or anything like that, to still enjoy it. So
yeah,
I totally get that. But yeah, I mean, and I was, talking about the setups and the kayaks and stuff in the new canoe. I mean, the pursuit, man, I was pretty blown away with it, fishing that first tournament with it. I mean, just how well it paddles, but also with the motor guide. I mean, I'm still learning how to use it, and it's still pretty new to me. But I got the bow mount, XI3, and I like to stand to fish a lot, and so for me, it fits with my style the way I fish. Like I stand up a lot, so I feel like I can move around, and it's more of that sort of a bass boat kind of feel, I mean, because you're standing, you're able to move, and it works real well. I mean, it's not as I've had the Torpedo, in the past, it's not as fast as a Torpedo. It's about 4.5 miles an hour, but I mean, the advantages of the maneuverability, like in docks and tight cover, for me, it fits better with my style. I mean, I'll take a mile an hour or half mile an hour, off of that to be able to do that. So.
Or on tournaments where you have to pedal, I don't know if you fish any of those. Are you using the pivot drive as well? Do you have
I plan to. I don't have it yet, but I definitely plan to. I mean, especially if I decide to jump into some Hobies or something like that, I think that would be advantageous, to have that. So I've not actually used that yet, but I think that will be a good add, when I do.
Yeah, it seems like this year I'm kind of surprised why more. I think at the beginning of the year, or maybe over the winter, whenever you're thinking about everything that's going to come out this year, you were thinking like with bass coming out, basses, a lot of people are going to make transition from the boat. And now, like in Alabama, there's no tournaments in Alabama that allow a motor. There just isn't. Like they all pedal or paddle. And so this year we're having one tournament, Alabama Bass Nation. They're having their championship, and that's the first motor tournament that isn't KBF that's come to our state. So, like, I think, companies like New Canoe, and I mean, you can put a Torpedo on anything with the 4-bolt pattern. But it seems like the man, if you have a bow mount motor or just really any kind of motor right now, you're really kind of like setting your. It's a heck of an advantage, especially with spot locking. I mean, you see like Derek Brundle and Cody Milton, and he won
offshore fisherman.
Yeah, and Cody, he won Lake Fork way up shallow, so maybe that's not as fair. And he won the the 5 live events, he won those super shallow too. So he wasn't really using his motor as much. But I saw him on the the Logan Martin event down here for the bass event, and he was killing it with that motor, and he was doing some things that I definitely couldn't do. But the can you just talk about if there's some people looking to motor? We heard Russell talk about Torpedo. Can you kind of talk about the having a bow mount motor and how that's changed the way you fish?
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, I think the main thing is the maneuverability, I mean, it's everything's in front of you. So like for me, I like it on a grass lake because if you're getting grass and you're getting clogged, you don't have something in the back you got to worry about, to like get out and unclog or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're not sitting there doing a cord up and down to try to, knock the grass off. I mean, you can just reach up front and pull the grass off or whatever. So I mean, for me, that's sort of a biggie. I mean, being in Florida and liking to fish grass lakes. And I think just the maneuverability and just the ability to stand is something that, and I've got mine rigged with it's real easy to just, stow and deploy with 2 cords. It's not a big deal. I think a lot of people probably get intimidated with, how to rig one up, to get it to deploy right and stuff like that. But it's not really it's not a problem. Mine works really well. And it's got enough speed on it too. I mean, 4.5 miles an hour is pretty fast. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like it's slow. So, the spot lock is something else. I mean, like I said, I got to really, dial that in, but, for some offshore stuff, but, it just, a lot of it's personal preference, I think. I mean, obviously if I'm in a shallow river like Russell's fishing, that's a whole different ball game, right? I mean, you're not got bow mount motors, you're going to be dead in the water with that, right? So,
yeah. What kind of battery are you running with that?
Yeah, so I'm running a Dakota Lithium, the 100 amp hour battery. The thing will run more than all day. I mean, for sure. So it's a great setup for it.
Yeah, I was in between that and the Torpedo when I was trying to decide what motor I wanted. It was a hard choice.
Yeah. I mean, for me with the Torpedo, I mean, it got me from point A to point B. Awesome. It's just I was having to stand up, like I would sit down to have to steer and move, and then stand back up. So I was up and down a lot. Yeah. And I was like, like once I get in an area, I sort of just like to stand and be able to just move around. You know what I mean? So that was the main thing for me. I mean, with it, but I mean, Torpedo is a great product too. I mean, it's light, it's fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and they're definitely both great. Yeah. Go ahead, Russ.
I think that's a big thing for me is why I chose Torpedo a couple of years ago is because I'm always in moving water and where he's fishing grass and stuff like that. When I'm going forward, I want what I have to kick up. If it was in the front, it's actually going to create a wedge and a little bit more pressure. I don't knock either brand. One of the guys that fished, the KBF Susquehanna event had a bow mount this weekend and finished in a money both days. You can use them, but for me being a river rat, I like the fact that, I can see what's coming, see any obstacles as I'm going over them, pull my Torpedo, lift it, get it out of the way. With a bow mount, it's a little bit backwards for me because I'm not, at 4 or 5 mile an hour, it's easy for me to grab and pull up and out of the way than going 4 or 5 mile an hour and hitting into a giant ledge system.
And I mean, y'all both won, so it's not, the debate of bow mount versus stern mount, which motor, this isn't talk bad about either one because both of y'all won and both of them are, if you don't have a motor and you're fishing an event that can have a motor, unless you're fishing something super, super shallow, you're just at a disadvantage nowadays.
Oh, dude, 100%. I agree with that.
I mean, I actually had to, one of the days on mine, I mean, I actually had to pull the motor up though. And I mean, when I was in the pads,
back in the pads,
and I was paddling, I would stand up and just paddle through them, I mean, so it's not like something that you're going to, utilize maybe all day, every day, but it's it is definitely good to have for sure.
It's also easy to paddle. I mean, it's like paddling boat too.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what everybody really needs to think of is no matter what motor you pick, you have to have a boat you're comfortable in, and then add to it from there. And for me, I get a lot of questions in regard to what boat's best. Um, I've been in small boats, I've been in big boats. They all have their own cause. But
You own 4
I'll
boats.
spit it
There is
after
no
that.
boat. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my family goes on just river floats with me. Me and my 6-year-old starting to want to fish more. So the DT comes in perfect for us with that. But there is no, I mean, there's things that Alan has on his boat that I would like on my boat. And there's probably things that Brad has on my boat or on his boat that I want. There's no real, there's no perfect boat. And that's even in a big boat world. That's why there's how many different manufacturers. So.
Yeah. That's right. Well, there's a Spotlight fan right there, Mr. Todd from the KBBT. But yeah, he's speaking of truckers. That man's a trucker himself.
Yeah,
he's all over the place.
An expediter.
and that's another trail. Like I fished the first one and I got 8th, and they gave me a trophy. I've never had a trophy for 8th before, so I don't know. It's like I have this beautiful trophy and I have it in my thing, and it's a nice water jetted thing, but I don't feel right putting an 8th place trophy up. That's like I'm proud of it, but I'm not proud enough to put it back there. Second or first maybe, but so all right. So one thing I said, y'all have to give us some kind of juice on something. It could be a tip, it could be a technique, it could be something, just something that you think you're really good at that maybe you'd like to share that knowledge. We'll start with you, Alan. You got something for us?
Yeah, I mean, there's everything. A lot of things come to mind.
You're so good at so many things, probably, right?
No, that's not why. I'm struggling.
It's hard to narrow it down.
I'm still trying to figure that out, man. Probably for me, it's like, breaking down an area and being able to settle into it and just pick it apart, that's probably one of my strengths. And so really just a soft plastic stick bait is like a lot of what I would go to, like on, and it probably was the wrong thing to do on Sunday because that's what I was trying to catch my 5th fish with. I said, I know I'm going to be able to get a fish on a Senko, and it just didn't happen. But, one of the things lately I've been liking to do is fish I like the Gambler products, so Gambler Fat Ace, like a 6-inch Fat Ace with fluorocarbon. And I feel like I get more bites on fluorocarbon than on braid a lot of times. And sometimes you have to look at the cover, to see what kind of, how heavy it is or whatever. But if it's questionable, I'll try some 20-pound fluorocarbon or even like 16-pound. I like to use Sunline, the FC Sniper fluorocarbon. And I just feel like I get more bites on that. I don't know. It might just be me. I know you got people like Greg Hackney saying they get the same amount of bites on 50-pound braid, but to me, I like the fluorocarbon, and I like, to just pick stuff apart and fish slow. And the other thing I've been doing is using like little nail weights in my bait rather than just using just a Texas rig, like little 1/8 ounce, bullet sinkers or whatever. And I'm just sort of putting those like midway through the bait or in the tail or whatever, just to try to create a different fall, a different look. So I think when fish see things a lot, that bait is falling a little different, and it gives a little different, profile to them. So, just a little 16th or 3/32 ounce or whatever it might be, to just create a different, deal. So
I know people are probably tired of hearing me say it, but the Nico rig, like in the last, just this year, has become such a big bait for me because it's so versatile. You can do so many different things. I can change out the weights and go deep, go shallow. You can still get a light enough weight in it. Your daughter is back there dancing. I like that. you can still skip it.
She's writing me all kinds of notes. I don't know what she's saying, but
I like it.
I got the same thing.
That's awesome.
Let's bring in our favorite gnome here.
Oh, man.
Jimmy Skinner.
What is up?
The man's here. I'm going to have to leave now.
No, you don't have to. All right, Russell, how about you, man? Give us some juice, man.
Man, so this one is very, very odd. It's fishing related, but it's really not fishing related. I'm big to going into water, going to a new body of water and finding out like what the bottom looks like, grabbing gravel at a boat ramp, looking at, the stuff floating on the top, making sure there's bluegill or something along that line, just because I want to be as natural as possible. So I fish a lot of jigs, and it might be a crawl jig or something like that. And the reason I grab rocks is because I want it to be very, very similar to the color of what's on the bottom of the lake. I stick my paddle in when I'm in a lake, and if I'm at a hard bottom or if there's 2 inches of sediment down the bottom of the lake, I'll make sure if I'm running a drop shot that, if I know they're 12 inches above and I'm punching a drop shot down or, power shotting, that 2 inches may make a difference. So I extend it for that. So knowing what I'm on as far as what my bottom bait is or bottom sediment is like ideal and key for me. It lets me know the color of the crawfish. It lets me know if you're picking up browns or greens. And it just helps me keep a more natural presentation because I try to be as natural as possible, which is completely opposite what I do on the Susquehanna. It's more power fishing with a bait profile they don't have, but it's a more territorial hit than it is this is something I see all the time and eat all the time. And I do that a lot on like really higher pressure fisheries. I want to know exactly what the bottom is. And if I got brown pea gravel, I'm throwing a brown crawl. If it's got some orange in it, my crawl is going to have a little bit of orange in it because I've never seen a crawl that doesn't match the bottom of what you're fishing.
Makes sense.
I like it. So yeah, that's excellent stuff right there. I actually heard, I can't remember what pro it was. He said something the other day where I think it was John Cruz. And if you're not watching, his YouTube channel is great. But he was talking about crankbaits and how he likes to kind of, if the water's kind of green, he likes to go with more of a green tone. Kind of same thing where you're saying where it's, you want to be natural. Those bait fish and those crawfish are almost kind of going to camouflage themselves to whatever the water, the bottom, things like that. So, sometimes having something loud like chartreuse black, that's awesome. But most of the time, and especially high pressure places like you're saying, having something natural is the deal. Yeah, yep. Cool. Good stuff. So, Jimmy.
What's up?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm late, but I'm still here.
That's okay.
It's okay.
So you really, Russell, I mean, you beat them. It was a tough day because not tough because it was there was a lot of people right behind you. And like you were saying earlier, you didn't know until the very end, right?
Yeah, I honestly, it sounds funny being a tournament director. It's not like you get to see the results or see anything else. And I'm there strictly for information. And I didn't realize I had won until Joe called me and said, "Hey, man, we need to talk about KBF bonus bucks." And even at that, I didn't know it's a first place finish. I don't know how many people they call, 2 or 3 people down the road or down the list. So at that point, I kind of figured I'm in the top 3 or 4. And I knew Matt Ball, he wasn't, we're fishing the same stretch of water. There's guys that are absolutely, that roster for that event was the sticks of the area. Yeah. I don't care who looks at that list. You have Jebediah Plunkett. You had, that guy's, I don't know him if he fished 100 tournaments on the Susquehanna River, there may be 9 tournaments that he didn't do well. And he's an absolutely a machine. And it surprised me that he finished where he did. But, everybody's fishing a little bit different. The river was kind of off. And in no way, shape, or form did I think 86 inches was going to take first place finish on that river.
Yeah.
When we normally fish a 3-fish tournament, it's 58 or plus for 3 fish. So there's definitely some giant smallmouth in this river.
Yeah, I need to get out there someday, man. It sounds like a blast.
Whenever you want to meet, I'm game to go.
I think I'm kind of far, though. I'm in
Where you at up there?
Dayton, Ohio.
So it'll take you 5 hours to get to me. You can throw your stuff on my truck, and it's 3 hours for us to get there.
Maybe I'll talk
you're-
Ricketts
I
into
mean,
coming
you-
out there with me.
Road trip.
He can come on out. It literally, man. You can. I live right off of 70, so it's a
Okay.
straight shot to get to me. I'm literally. I can hear tractor trailer trucks on 70.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, that's
I'm right
cool.
off of 70.
That's
All right.
cool.
We appreciate it, guys. We don't want to take up too much of your time. Alan, we'll start with you. Give you the red carpet. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank New Canoe for making a great product and believing in me, as well as Westbrook Supply in Atlanta. Fletch Griffin, he knows how to rig a kayak, man. Let me tell you. I mean, he did mine from bow to stern and just did an awesome job. So, I mean, I think that's important for anybody out there that needs a good kayak, rigging job to, find a good shop. Just find a good local shop and just, get it done right, instead of trying to figure lots out yourself. So, those are probably the big two. I mean, Motor Guide, making a great product, helping me get out on the water and get motorized. So that's really it. And my daughter is here. She's wanted to just do a real cameo.
Yeah,
real quick.
say hey.
Come here. She's wanting to say, she's like, oh, shy. There she is. Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, she's wanting. This is my daughter Sophie. She's wanting to say that she does I do an excellent job teaching her to fish. So she's been writing me notes the whole time.
Nice.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
So,
Well,
yeah,
welcome.
Yeah, we
appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah. How about you, Russell?
Well, first and foremost, I got to thank the wife. Thank my staff at the restaurant for letting me slide out on Saturday. They held it down for sure. Then fishing sponsors, Fishing Online, local Pennsylvania company. I've been with those guys for a couple of years now. Super fast shipping. Everything that they do is real time. If you see it on their website, they have it. My local dealer here, the River's Edge Canoe and Kayak. I can't thank Neil and his wife enough. Jackson Kayak, that's my boat of choice. Ray Marine, Picasso. There's another local custom crank company. It's Falk's Custom Cranks. He does all custom cranks. He paints. You can send him old, and he'll match them. Then he has some custom cranks you can't get anywhere else, like one knocker square bills and a few other things that are a little bit heavier. They are definitely quality crankbaits. And then the power behind all this is my Torquedo. I'd like to thank Torquedo with Jeff Little and Steve Turkla. Those guys believe in me, and I put their products to use. And then thank you guys here at the Paddle and Fin podcast for bringing us on and letting us explain our stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And Todd had a great question there. What do y'all have coming up next and for the rest of the year?
So next I have coming up is a couple weeks here at home. I'll be fishing another monthly for June, and then I'm going to try to slide out to the East-West Harbor event, KBF 2-day in Ohio.
I might see you out there, man.
Yeah, I've done pretty well with that with Buckeye Trail before. I actually won an event out there and took big bass. So it's about 4 hours from me. I think I'll shoot out there and support it. They got a great group out there with Sean Skidmore and all those guys. So I definitely want to be back with those guys and just good camaraderie.
Awesome.
Cool. How about you, Alan?
I think I'm going to retrace my steps back out west and head out to Caddo in about 4 weeks for the KBF, the South Central out there. Got started with South Central. It's like I can't, I've never fished Caddo, so I'm going to, see how that goes. So I'm looking forward to that one. Sort of already started looking at it.
Are you going to try and fish all the South Central events to, go for their angler?
Yeah, I mean, if you do Caddo and then do the Super Trail, however that works out, that's probably what I'll end up doing, just to see how that goes. I mean, for me living down here, I mean, it's almost as far to do the Southeast events the way they were scheduled this year, in Tennessee and Kentucky and stuff. It's like, I might as well just go fish water I feel a little better about. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing that. So
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm sure we'll, y'all are hammers. We'll have you on for too long. I'm glad we were able to get you on this time, and we'll have you all on again soon. So thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Be
All
good.
right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. All right. As always, great people to have on the show. I'm glad I finally got to meet them two people.
Yeah, I'm glad. I might get to meet Russell up at East and West Harbor in a couple weeks. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you need to be friends with that guy so you can go fish yourself.
I know, man. That I've always heard good things about that river and big smallmouth. And when I hear anything somebody says smallmouth, and my eyes just pop.
Oh, I feel you, man.
Yep,
Yeah.
Jimmy knows.
Both of y'all river smallmouth guys.
I got on a couple Sunday. Nothing crazy, but it felt good to get to fish again. It's been like a month, so.
Yeah. How's your shoulder doing now?
I was a little sore yesterday, and it was surprising it wasn't from paddling. It was like finesse fishing and holding the rod in position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'd have to start paddling to loosen my shoulders up. But I got like 4.5 hours in, and that was about all I could handle. So I'm probably gonna have to work my way back up to being able to like fish a full day.
Mm-hmm.
But it was better than nothing. So
Cool. All right. Well, here we go. The usual weekly rundown, all the tournaments. If I misspell your name, as always, I'm sorry. I blame Mississippi Public School System. So first we had the Susquehanna at Russell was in. He won with 87 3/4. Derek Brundle was second with 84 3/4, and Matt Ball got third with 84. That was on Saturday. Then on Sunday, William Dunbrow with 86.5. Jody Queen second with 86 1/4, and David Gallagher with 84 3/4. Next, Queen with NACA, North Alabama Kayak Anglers. Jimmy, he's one of the board members, tournament directors for them. That was their Shoals event, 60 anglers. First, Shane Peacock with 60 inches, and this is a 3-fish tournament, so he had average 320s. Michael Cooper in second. He beat everybody by 4 3/4 inches. So Michael Cooper second with 55 1/4. And John Bubba Jones with 54 3/4. So yeah, Shane whooping everybody.
Dude, I was judging the fish in that tournament since I couldn't make it, and he got out there, and I don't think he ever got lower than third, but he just kept finding good fish. So
Man, that's crazy.
Good job, Shane.
Yeah,
Man, he did a good job.
Wish I could fish that one myself. That's usually my favorite tournament of the year because I love Pickwick so much, but can't make them all.
That's right.
So next, Adirondack KBF, that was on Tupper Lake, 30 anglers. Austin Delosh with 88 1/4, Justin Query with 86, and Nick Berlin with 86 as well. Next up, Buckeye Kayak Bass Fishing Trail on Raccoon Creek, 52 anglers. Sean Skidmore first, 96 3/4. Destroyed the field by
19
almost
inches, dude.
96.75. Yeah. Dustin Hoy with 77 inches. 96 and then 77. So that's ridiculous. Matt Davison third with 68. And congrats. Go ahead.
I know Sean personally, and that dude is an absolute hammer in Ohio, man. It's not surprising he was 19 inches up after day one.
So it was 19 between first and second, and what was it, about 12 between second and third?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw his numbers. I was like, dude, he could catch 3 fish tomorrow and be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
11.
It was crazy.
11 between second and third.
Jeez.
I think he.
That's crazy. Did I freeze?
Yeah, he did. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We've got bad storms tonight. Sorry if I've been freezing at all. That's what's been going on.
Yeah.
Next was Carolina Kayak Anglers on Lake Hickory with 52 anglers. First was Tang Vu with 87 inches, Shelly Inford with 84 inches, and Ling Vang with 82 1/2. Next up, KBF on Kentucky Lake Saturday, and this was the double. Russ Snyder's wins both days. Although I heard Sunday had some debate going on, so I'm not sure what's up with that Siddiqui thing and one of the native guys. But Saturday, 41 anglers. Snyder's with 90 1/4. Josh Stewart, obviously 89 inches, and Adam Reiser, who won not too long ago in the Hobie, or he got second in the Hobie, I think.
Yeah.
He had 88 1/4. And then Sunday, 25 anglers. Russ Snyder's again with 80.5. A lot tougher day. Numbers definitely went down. Anthony Winkleman with 77 3/4, and Joshua Sharp in third with 74 3/4. So, I mean, I think that's a new one. I mean, this is the first year we dealt back-to-back KBFs like that, but Russ is definitely the only one who's won back-to-back days like that. That's,
Man,
Dude,
he's
he
having an
can't
incredible
stop,
year.
man.
talk about a paycheck. And he did great on the KBF on Loudon. So, yeah, I mean, he's so legit. Like, there's no question he's top 5. Like,
Oh yeah,
he's the Aaron Martins. He's the natural of our sport right now, I think.
Yeah, he is.
and the fact that he came up out of nowhere last year is crazy.
Yeah, I don't admit that. Like, I had not really heard of Russ before his like reign of terror
Yeah,
started. So,
yeah.
like, I was like, maybe I just never heard of him. But every time I talked to somebody, it was kind of like that for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. So next, Southwestern Virginia kayak anglers. That's very specific. Southern West Virginia. So they were on Gandiot River and R.D. Bailey Lake. 40 anglers. First was Jeffrey Eldridge with 72.5. Larry Jackson with 66, and Thomas Hill in third with 65.25. Next, kayak anglers tournament series on Highland Lakes and Lower Colorado River. 50 anglers. Rolando Nadin with 95 inches. Frank Spencer in second with 91 3/4, and Guillermo Gonzalez with 91.5. Queen City KBF on High Rock Lake with 69 anglers. Tim Sibilia, 75 3/4. Chase Helms, 70 3/4. So Tim won by 5 inches. Another big differences in these tournaments. And Brian Brakenfield with 69 inches. And this one is a small one, but I wanted to give him a shout out. The UP Upper Peninsula Kayak Anglers. They're a new club this year. They were on Shaky Lakes, 13 anglers, and the fishing up there is amazing. We had Jonathan Pepin on with KBBT earlier this year. Jace Winnell won with 83.5. So congrats to them. I know they're working hard to build that club. Indiana Kayak Anglers on Kokomo Reservoir, 60 anglers. Mark Howell in first with 78.25, Matt Gibson 76.5, and Aiden Darlington with 74 3/4. Next up is Moyak on Truman Lake, 78 anglers. James Harden with the big 100 century mark, 100.5. Lance Burris, who might be having maybe equal to Russ Snyder's or like 1 and 1A. Lance Burris with 93.25, and Jacob Nunn with 85.5. Michigan Kayak Trail Border City Classic. This was the big one last week. This was on Lake Sinclair, had both U.S. and Canadian anglers. There was 66 in total, and they gave away a new Hobie Mirage compass. So that was a big one. And if you miss a show, what is Richard Offner? He was Canadian, and he was on the KBN tonight. So if you miss that, go back and listen to it. But he had 96.25. Rob Baginski with 95.5, and Karen Poole in third. And 7 out of the top 10 were Canadian. I don't think I like that, but I mean, I know we had Canadians on last week, and they're great, and there are neighbors to the north, but I'm ashamed of some of our anglers, or maybe it was a wind thing, a big lake like that. Maybe it was a wind thing, or
they got the smallmouth dialed in, man.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. So we got whooped by the Canadians. Next up was Nebraska Kayak Anglers on Red Willow, 40 anglers. Jared Cup with 96.25, Chris Longshore second with 87.25, and Marty Hughes, we had him on a couple of weeks ago with 86.5, and so great guy there. Colorado Kayak Fishing Club on Pueblo, 45 anglers. Jimmy Pierce first, 78.75, James Francis 76, and Ryan Kidd 74.5. Yaki Bass, that's one out in California. They were on 6 different lakes, 105 anglers. Gilbert Canarsia with 98.25, David Larson 97.75, and Sheldon Goob, one of the two. I'm sorry, Sheldon, 96.5. Last two, it's a long one. A lot of tournaments going on right now. SoCal Kayak Anglers out in Southern California. They had their fish and chill event. All right. 30 anglers. Brian Lepke with 91.5, Tim O'Connor 89, and Sonny Carrig with 86.25. And last but not least, the land of 1,000 lakes, Minnesota Kayak Fishing Association, their Lightning Kayak Tourney, 50 anglers. Sumbath Her with 90.25, Josh Wolfbauer with 79.5, and I guess Sumbath's relative, Shoe Her, with 78.25. So congratulations to everybody. As always, if you want to shout out your club, even if you're below 30 anglers, that's usually the threshold. Just shoot us a message, me or Jimmy, and we'll talk about your club. We want to highlight everybody that we can. That's why we always have on as many people as possible from all over the country and even above the border, the Canucks. So there you go.
Yeah,
Lord.
I dig that you guys still do the results at the end too, man.
Yeah, everybody wants to hear their name, and I don't like this comment, but we got it. That may be your wife.
That's the wife.
That's the wife.
I'm gonna have to agree with her, man.
Thank you.
Ooh.
That's the compliment I needed. I need to do that.
Feel good about yourself, man.
All
right. Well, we appreciate it.
Here.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for filling in with for Jimmy for a little while. I know
Thanks,
sometimes work comes first, and it
Anytime.
is. Yeah. So thanks again to Russell and Alan for being on show, and we'll see y'all again next week. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, and again, if you want to highlight your club or have anything you want to say on the show, just send either me or Jimmy a message in. So be careful out there and wear your PFDs. Have a good night, everybody.
See you
next time.